I
I
could
think
tell
that
you how
one.
much I made in the first year, maybe 40, 50 hours a week. I made about $3,000.
Can you give us a sense of how that's changed financially?
So I make more money than I know how to spend.
I used to be pretty tech savvy, okay? Like I could figure things out. Now I don't know anything. Like I had to watch a video on how to set up a Zoom call yesterday.
I had to figure out like just how to use like the OBS software and like split the audio channels and all that. But luckily it's
Yes.
just a tutorial way. Oh yeah, so I watched yours and Ray's episodes. Um, yeah, sorry that all happened to you. That's terrible.
Yeah, no, I
Like they literally like kind of just harassed you out of town, and
pretty much, yeah.
yeah, that's just awful. Like and totally uncalled for. And yeah, you don't expect that from adults. That
No.
kind of pettiness.
Yeah, so we can get started. So yeah, tell me a little bit about yourself, Mike.
So I went to Temple University. My original major was computer science, and I really only picked it on a whim. It seemed practical, um, and really I didn't want to be like a lawyer or a doctor or like a pharmacist, like Asian parents want you to be. So I was kind of a failure in that regards. But I mean, I liked being on the computer, and computer science seemed right. So I picked that, and the first semester I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I was just like, I need to get out of here. So I did a lot of reflecting mid semester, and winter break, and I realized that I wanted to try like film because in high school I did a lot of video production, and it was a lot of fun. It was mainly like short, fun videos and news broadcasts for the high school, and I had fun doing that. So I thought maybe I could try something like that. So um, being on that track, the film classes were okay at best. I didn't learn too much overall in them. A lot of a lot of the value I got was the networking and working with other students, students' projects, and students' films, and getting that hands-on experience. So that's what I got out of like college. And another
Mm.
big thing was like study abroad.
Oh,
I
you did that?
Yeah, I did that. I did that twice,
Okay.
actually. So I went to London for a semester, and I did an internship there in London. And so I worked at a post production house, which was a video editing house, and I loved it. Um, and then in Hong Kong, I studied abroad there too and interned abroad there. And the internship wasn't as good, but I really liked Hong Kong. So a lot of the value, yeah, was like the relationships, the practical skills I got, basically study abroad was like the main takeaways from college. And that kind of led me to a couple of choices I could talk about later too.
Yeah. Wow. I didn't know you went to Temple. I don't
Yep,
know why.
just
I
right
feel
around the
like you're an
corner.
out of state. Yeah. Okay, so you graduated from Temple with
Film and media arts major, which is a really useless major in retrospect.
what did you do after? Did you immediately start kind of freelancing?
Okay, so after I had no idea what I wanted to do. I went into retail. Worked at CVS for a while, um, and honestly, it was just hard to just find a job. So I worked retail for a little bit, and I I actually I looked at my like coworkers, and I kind of just saw like how unhappy they were. Um, and so the passion that I got from like studying abroad and like wanting to work still in video production, I wanted to try to combine that. I wanted to work abroad, and I wanted to do video production. And I just didn't know how to get there, until I had a talk with my brother-in-law one day at his house, and he introduced me to this like site called Upwork, which is kind of like basically it's like LinkedIn but for freelancers and clients, where clients have job postings, and then that kind of like light bulb went in my head where I said to myself, oh, all of this thing is online, all the transactions, all the projects. I could just kind of, take this anywhere I want and actually travel and still work. I'm gonna give this a go. And there was a lot of
Yeah.
bumps along the way. Very exciting at first, yeah. And I quit CVS and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go 100% into this and try to make it work. There's a whole like, essentially there's like a kind of like a job listing, um, and it will just be various jobs like, hey, I want to create videos for my online course. Hey, I want to create a YouTube channel and I want somebody to work on these videos for me.
Good.
Hey, I just have a small project where um, it's my kid's birthday and I want to make a birthday video for him or something like that. So a lot of different kinds of video jobs on there. And, I applied to a lot of them. And what you do is just kind of write a cover letter. Um, and yeah, I kind of went about it in like the wrong way completely, and kind of made an ass of myself early on in the process. So my cover letters were really bad. I'll be a little specific about them. I mean, like at first I thought like being the cheapest was the cheapest option was like ideal, right? But that's never a good idea. So I started charging at like $10 an hour, which was terrible. And then like I would say, hey, your video looks good. Hey, I can speak English, like, which is like so stupid. Like I could speak fluent English. Like I thought that was like a skill. Like I think because like I was a minority, like I was like Asian, maybe people didn't think I spoke English and communication would be a problem. So like I felt the need to maybe show them that or like tell them that like in my cover letters.
Did you get a lot of jobs?
No, no, I didn't get my first client like until like 3 months in.
So you started on Upwork, and how long were you doing that before you decided to start your own business?
Um, so let me see. I started I started Upwork like in August or yeah, July or August. Didn't get my first client until like October. Um, Made some money. By the end of the year, I made like a really small chunk of change, and I was like, "Hey, this kind of works." I mean, I put in like 50 hours a week just to make this much money every week, but it works. Um, and I still kept it going into next year, and still was like that freelancer. Still doing it. I made a little bit more money, and then the year after that was like, okay, this is becoming a business where it's like, I got the skills. I know how to get the clients. I know how to fulfill the demands of the market in a good way. So I think 2017 was like the year where it started turning into a small business. The difficulty was like I didn't think it'd be that hard to find like work. And yeah, there were just definitely days where I wanted to give up, like, and just try to get like a real job. Like almost every day, like I would get nothing done, and I wasted like 9 hours. And then I had like family and friends breathing down my shoulder as well, um, like saying, "What the hell are you doing? Like this is not worth your time or energy. Just instead, go ahead and start job hunting and finding somewhere stable." So it was a lot of pressure from the outside, but also me, putting
Yeah.
pressure on myself. Either it doesn't work or you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
But I don't know, that dream of wanting to travel was still stronger than all of that. So I just kept pushing through it. That was the
Mhm.
biggest challenge was mentally, and I guess other people.
Yeah. And now you found huge clients.
Yeah, I'm definitely privileged to be working with them. When you're like more established on the platform, you kind of have like bigger SEO, and your keywords are higher, and your profile is like higher on the search. So that really helps a lot. Like Microsoft kind of found me and asked me if I wanted to work on the project with them, which is like, yeah.
Tell me about how you got into real estate because that's a lot of extra. That's like not just a small side hustle.
Yeah, it's like a full-time job, on top of your full-time job, right? So like 2017-ish, I guess like in the middle of it, I I had like slow months, and part of being a freelancer is that feast or famine mentality, where it's like it's either really really busy, you got a ton of projects on your plate, and you don't know what to do, or it's super slow and no clients are knocking on your door and nothing needs to be done and you're losing your mind and you're like, oh my god, is my business going to fall apart? And so it was during the slow time, like in the summer, and I was thinking to myself like, well, is there a way to make like passive income where, you know, I don't have to worry about these slow times. Like even during these slow times, I can like rest easy, thinking to myself, okay, there's still money coming in. And so I went on to Bigger Pockets and like Coach Carson, and I saw a lot of their content, um, and how they made arguments on like how real estate is like the best vehicle for passive income. I'm gonna try to, you know, try to take this more seriously and try to get real estate up and running. And I take a course called Real Estate Start School, and like one of the early steps was like figuring out like where you're at financially, and um, so I did that, and I was like, oh wait, I shouldn't even invest in real estate right now. I have enough savings.
Yeah.
I barely have like any cash reserves. And he was like, you probably shouldn't be investing like right now. So I was like, okay. So 2018, I did that, exactly that. I just saved a ton of money, as much as I could. And early 2019, I was like, okay, um, I'm going to take real estate investing seriously again. I networked a lot like while on the ground, and I met my agent, and we just by then I kind of had an idea of what I wanted, and we just went hunting. I went to a lot of showings, and like, I looked at a lot of houses. I think I looked at like 30 or so houses with him. He was so patient.
Wow.
I couldn't believe it. But
Did he have properties too?
yeah, he had one property. He was like my age, so like he was starting off, but like he had a house hack in media.
Okay. Where do you buy?
So it was kind of an all over the place. It was like a moving target. I thought I wanted to buy in like Manayunk, Fishtown area, or like Point Breeze, and then I realized they were too expensive, and I couldn't really get financing for them. I was just trying to get like an FHA loan. I kept going around, and then eventually I kind of like moved towards West Philly. Didn't like West Philly as much, outside of like University City, and then I went eventually to like Upper Darby, and I think Upper Darby was a nice mix of, safe, walkable, convenient, and
Mm.
not too expensive.
Yeah. I think there's actually a house on Springton Road that's still in the market. It's affordable actually. Ray wanted to buy it, but I don't know why he did. Well, he doesn't have the capital right now, but I think he was looking into that.
Is it
It's
a
been on the
multi-unit?
market. Yeah, it's 3 units. Um, and it's been on the market for like months, like 4 months. It's pretty good. I don't know why nobody's bought it yet, but it's really
Okay.
like if with an FHA, you'd be putting down like 8,000, plus closing.
Oh, that
Yeah,
is cheap. And the neighborhood or the block is pretty good?
yeah, it's quiet and nice.
Really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm also capital, like I like a zero capital.
it's gone.
Capital's gone right now.
So my next question for you would be, what challenges came with real estate that maybe you didn't prepare yourself for or didn't foresee?
Okay. Yeah, a lot of
Oh, actually, before you start, can you also let us know how many properties you have currently?
I have two duplexes, so 4 units total as of
Okay.
now. Um, yeah, so with the first property, I didn't think it would take so long to find the right fit. It took like 30 viewings. I didn't think I would be like looking at 30 different properties. and then making like 11 offers. I made 11 offers, got rejected on 10 of them. But yeah, the biggest challenge, at least up front, was like just looking at different properties, seeing a lot of flaws, seeing a lot of things I didn't like, and just finding that right property, making an offer, getting rejected on the offer, and just finding the motivation to keep going and saying, you know what, I'm still on the right path. I just need to keep going and keep making more offers, just keep doing the process, and eventually something will come out of it.
What about after you got your property? What were some challenges?
I think both of them were challenging in different ways. I got this property. It was a duplex. It was kind of also owned by a slumlord, but it was the repairs seemed manageable for me. My brother luckily helped me do the repairs on my unit. I lived in the bottom unit and then rented out the top. And a lot of the challenges were getting the repairs done and like learning how to do the repairs. Just like learning how to paint, like basic stuff, learning how to paint, learning how to rip out the carpet. And the mistake I made was like living in the unit while I was repairing it. Never do that. It's like a mess. It's like a dusty mess and it's gross. But I did that. A lot of the challenges were just like figuring out how to repair stuff. One quick story is I was kind of like ripping out like old nails with a crowbar and like old I don't know, like wooden planks that had nails attached to them with a crowbar. And I was getting this one plank out, and I was so frustrated. Like, I guess all the frustration of the renovation like culminated into that one moment. And I was like, I came back and I struck it as hard as I can, and it kind of bounced off the plank, and the crowbar hit a pipe next to it, a water pipe, and it nicked the water pipe, and the water pipe like was leaking water, and I was like, oh my God, no. All because I was like really frustrated and angry in that moment. But yeah, I mean, long story short, I hired a plumber. It costed a lot of money, but it was fixed. Another issue was managing contractors. I think another challenge was managing contractors. I guess not knowing what I wanted out of the unit and like how I wanted to look like, and I was just kind of naive. I was a new investor. I didn't know like that much, and maybe he took advantage of me a little bit in terms of pricing and like terms and stuff. And it was just a challenge and a learning process working with just contractors. And one thing like I learned from contractors is they always say things take like a month or a couple weeks. It never takes that long. It takes like twice as long, maybe 3 times as long. I feel like a lot of, I guess, cosmetics.
A lot of stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, that was like the biggest challenge, I think, just managing contractors.
Any tenant problems?
Tenant problems. Recently, I mean, I can't say it's their fault, but recently in January, I had one tenant where she had her hours cut, and so she couldn't really afford the rent. But luckily, there's this rental assistance program from the county, Delaware County, and it's really nice program. So my property manager and her applied for it, and what they do is, if they're accepted, they pay for the current balance of the rent, what's owed, and then the next 3 months of full rent. You don't want to find like the first person who applies, right? Like,
yeah,
you're thinking long term, like, I need a tenant that's going to pay on time, going to take care of the property, going to be really easy to manage. I would say, like, if I looked at myself now, I would be super surprised, because now I'm very clear on what I want. I want to I want to make it like an impact on other people around me, and help others do the same as well. And I want to do something that's just more fulfilling.
Let's talk about that impact. Like, what impact are you talking about?
I'd like to I always wanted to like start off and like help close friends around me, like with their personal finances. Um, I think it'd be cool to just, help other friends try to get to where I'm trying to get to, or even just have more education and knowledge. Like, hey, money isn't everything, but like it's still very important. You shouldn't ignore it, and you shouldn't just like coast through life and just not worry about it. It's an important topic, and if you manage it well, you have so much more options in your life. I think I'd love to like help like kids, because kids, if kids are like a blank slate, and I guess they're more susceptible to ideas than us adults. And I think that'd be a really good start. Like, why aren't we learning this stuff like when we're in elementary school? Because I think we're privileged in the fact that we have this financial knowledge, and like we were saying earlier, like, yeah, most people, they just go through life and they don't know any of this stuff, and they're kind of involuntarily trapping themselves.
Yeah,
I don't know, it's just kind of sad.
it is. Once you
Oh,
learn, you can't ever unsee that knowledge. It's like so obvious after
I
that.
think we're on the same wavelength, and I like that.
Awesome. Yeah. My next question for you is: in what ways have you improved in the last few years? That's arbitrary. Just in general, how have you improved um, in your life? And what are you still trying to improve on?
I think my willingness to try new things and try things that other people are scared of, I think, is one of the biggest factors to who I am today, and like why how I got here today. Like with freelancing, I was trying to do something like nobody else really, not at least in my circle, was trying to do. Like, what the hell is remote work back in 2015? Like, nobody was doing that. Um, so I think that's a big thing. Like, just trying something that nobody's doing, or not a lot of people are doing, and just not being afraid of like making a fool of yourself or an ass of yourself, and being okay with making mistakes, not being perfect, and continually learning along the way. That's just that kind of overall mentality is something I feel like I've had developed over the years. And what am I still trying to improve upon? I still have that anxiety, and that person who thinks, oh, it's all gonna go to shit, and you're totally still a failure, and you're not who you think you are. I think just having that kind of like devil that's on my shoulder, that's just talking me down. I think I'm still battling that. Just the anxiety of maybe failing, or anxiety of losing a lot of money, or anxiety of um, I don't know, looking vulnerable in front of other people.
Yeah.
Just that overall still gives me anxiety.
Yeah. Just in general, right?
Right.
And like also social anxiety.
Definitely social anxiety too. Yeah, something I'm working on. Um, maybe you. Yeah, I think you kind of relate to, right?
Yeah. I feel like everyone can relate to that, and we don't really verbalize it a lot because we just want to forget about awkward interactions and social anxiety, but literally everyone has it. It's actually really normal, and you just have to continue to work on it, which I think you're doing. So keep doing that.
Yeah, it's definitely a work in progress, I think, for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, it's normal. Um, we should say, like, we should normalize saying that it's normal. Next question. So, were your parents first gen immigrants? And can we talk about how you grew up, and whether that influenced any of the decisions you made later on in life? Um,
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, my parents were first gen immigrants. So my one brother got really sick. They couldn't treat him in Vietnam, so they had to go to America. That that was like a whole hassle. I mean, they had to like sneak onto a boat, go to Singapore, fly out of Singapore, get caught, got jailed, um, try again, and then luckily they got it the second time. And so They settled in New York. Treated my brother. Had almost no money. Um, living in New York. Um, they had the hard life for sure. I
For
had the
sure.
spoiled life. Um,
Yeah, we all do.
yeah. But yeah, their story is very. Um, I try to acknowledge their story and really, um, I guess I feel grateful for like how many head starts I've had compared to them. So as a child, I was like the spoiled brat for sure. I always kind of got what I wanted. Everybody catered to me, and yeah, I always got what I wanted. Like, and it's just how it was when I was a kid. And I don't know what incident. I still can't pinpoint it. Where I just grew out of that phase, and I realized, no, my family like suffered and you know
Yeah,
hustled to get to this point, and their sacrifices is why we live such a comfortable life now. And if they can work this hard and make this happen, all of this happen, like, man, I could do a lot more with like all the head starts I've gotten in life. And so that really pushed me. I don't know what incident exactly, but that flip, maybe middle of high school or something.
oh wow.
Maybe possibly because my dad passed away. So it might have been around that time, where that gave me perspective on like what my family has gone through. But
Yeah,
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 somewhere around that time, like the teenagers, where it was just like, okay, I can't be like this anymore. Like I got to grow out of it and just be humble and really work hard to what I want.
yeah. No, I totally feel that. I agree completely. If our parents were able to create such immense growth from literally nothing,
Yeah,
they had no connections when they came here. They literally, it was like, it's not like they had a community. Like, I mean, yeah, maybe they're like, for my family, they're Chinese. Maybe they went to like Flushing or Chinatown, but they didn't know anybody. They had to build everything. And if they could build everything and then we were born and we kind of just attached to their community that they already built, we literally, like, I mean, there's always an excuse, right? But if you think about it in perspective, we have so much opportunity, and it's hard to make an excuse when you put it in perspective. Like, we just have so much opportunity everywhere.
we
And we
really
just,
do.
yeah, and there's always going to be something like, oh, I'm lazy, I'm not feeling well, I'm unmotivated, this or that. There's always going to be an excuse. It's not the right time in my life, but there's never going to be a right time, is something I realized. Like our parents, like they didn't even have time to be afraid because they had to hustle every single day. Like they didn't have time to
Hmm.
stop and think about fear. They were literally in a foreign country at like 20, what, maybe like mid 20s, late 20s, like how we are now.
Crazy. I
Crazy. I
I
would
know.
be dead.
I can't believe it. Yeah, I mean, no English, like no money, um, just making something out of scraps, and it's just
Yeah, that
uh,
just shows you that hustling really gets you far. Like you don't really realize. But yeah.
yeah, no shortcuts. You just got to put in the work, and it can
Yeah.
happen. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm glad we're both like Asian Americans, and we can totally relate
Yes.
on that
Actually,
level.
growing up, I did want to be Asian American. But Ray and I were talking about how growing up, we weren't really proud of being Asian American because we really wanted to fit in and there weren't as many Asians. So we adopted more of the American culture and kind of eschewed our Asian culture until we got older and realized that being Asian has so many perks. Having that double perspective really makes you see what's the best in each culture, and in other cultures too. Like there's something to be learned from every culture. Like being Asian American is what gave me that perspective. So I'm really proud to be Asian American. I
Yeah.
wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want it any other way. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, 100%. Like, I went to a white Catholic school, and I was bullied all the time for being Asian, and I just wanted to fit in too, and I was kind of just ashamed of being Vietnamese, and that's kind of why my Vietnamese is still bad today. But I'm working on it. Like I just kind of wanted to discard that identity as well to fit in. So I totally get you guys.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, but moving on, what or who has been your biggest influence in life?
Definitely my older brother, my oldest
Okay.
brother. In terms of, I guess, like in terms of wealth, I mean, he's retired now, very comfortable. He gets to travel all over the world if he wants to, and he has all the he has all the time in the world now just to do whatever he wants. Definitely now, I mean, like I'm more aware of his faults, and that's why I like don't want to like perfectly emulate him. He's not a perfect person. Um, I don't want to like talk too much shit about him. He's like an egomaniac kind of. Like I definitely don't want to be that at all. I want to be really humble, and I don't want to be single forever like him. Um, he's kind of had that like lone wolf mentality, which I kind of like, but kind of don't like about him. Yeah.
Is he looking? I know 5 friends. He's 46.
No, he's not. He's not really looking. She's so young for him. No.
46. Wait, I know someone who's 39.
He's not
Like
even
one
looking.
person. Okay. Like I'm like thinking all the people I know in the age range. Um, okay, so my question now for you is, do you feel successful?
uh, yeah, I would say I feel pretty successful. In in the way that like I had these goals. They were very unconventional. Um, I worked I worked towards them. I still made mistakes. I still I took a lot of time. But I still put in and day out. I still grinded towards those goals, and I feel like I'm meeting them or have met them. So on that level, I do feel successful. Um, Certain instances, I feel like, I mean, yeah, I mean, a lot of the mistakes I made along the way were definitely big setbacks for me. Other setbacks, like a lot of it was like just mentally. I mean, I kind of harped on this earlier, but just other people kind of bringing you down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like other people were like, "What are you doing?" And like, "Why don't you just get a job, like a normal job or stuff like that?" Are you sure you're even making money like doing this? Or like, you know, um,
Yeah. You can't listen to them.
yeah,
If you know that's what you want to do, you gotta go for it. And I think if you work hard at anything and you're consistent, you'll get there. So, yeah.
that's yeah, honestly. And you just kind of have to do what you want to do.
Mhm. You have to be smart about it, right? You have to think, like, you have to make a plan. But if you have a plan and you're consistent, you just have to keep doing it every day.
Keep at it. I totally
All
agree.
right. All right, next question. Are you happy? Why or why not?
Am I happy? Let me see. Am I really happy? I would say yes. Um, and not and for different reasons. I would say I started journaling recently. Every day I would write down at least 5 things that I'm grateful for that day, or something that made me happy that day. And honestly, like it's just really every day. It just made me realize that every day there's something to be grateful for, even if it's like the shittiest day ever.
Yeah.
So in that regards, I feel very content and happy.
I just wanted to ask you, this isn't a question on here, but
Yeah.
you said you started out not making a lot. You even said you were charging $10 an hour when you first started on Upwork. Can you give us a sense of how that's changed financially?
I make more money than I know how to spend. But at the same time, I'm not satisfied because I still have to work my ass off to make that money, and I have to put in a lot of hours and manpower. Um, but eventually, I'll get that passive income, So I'm working towards that passive income where, I don't have to always work as hard. And I'd rather make a lot less and have a lot more time than kind of where I'm at now, where I don't have as much time as I'd like, but I am making really comfortable money. I could
I think
tell you
that
how much I made in the first year, like July and August to December. So that's about what, 6 months, 7 months, full time, like maybe 40, 50 hours a week. I made about $3,000. I was like, yeah, all right, this works. I was really happy about that. The amount wasn't important to me. It was just the fact that I still made it.
yeah, yeah. I think people will definitely be able to find that. I find that very helpful.
I hope that's relatable. Yeah, I only made $3,000 my first year of my business. I'm really happy with the clients I have now. They've been providing me really stable work, and they're just personality wise, it's just a really good fit. A lot of the work I didn't like with running a business was finding new clients, dealing with a lot of different personalities, like flaky clients, and just people who try to lowball you and undercharge you.
Yeah,
It was a lot of that was like a big challenge with running the business early on. Just
yeah.
kissing a lot of frogs.
Oh yeah. You gotta wade through the bad to get to the good.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Last question. What's your favorite book?
Favorite book? One book?
You can give 2 or 3 if you want.
Okay. I really enjoyed The One Thing by Gary Keller. And then I like The Richest Man in Babylon was really good. That's like a really good personal finance book / investing
Okay.
book. It's very beginner friendly, which I liked. I read it pretty early on. Cool.
Also, I think that was such a good discussion.
Yeah, I really
Really,
enjoyed that. I hope people get something out of it.
for sure.